Hi, I'm Steve here at Eagle Creek Farm. It's April the 23rd, and we've been on lockdown here on our farm now for almost 5 weeks. And still milking a cow and getting milk and gathering eggs and all of that stuff. I had mentioned to you earlier that I had a barn cat that was friendly. She is now friendlied right up to me. I've named her Leche, and because that's what I calmed her down with. She went from being a cat that would not be in the same barn hardly with me. She would go way up on top of that haystack when I came down to the barn and stay there. So I started by putting a little milk in this bowl for her, and then I would set that bowl of milk up there on, 5 or 6 bales high, and she would drink it through the day or whatever. And then I move it down, all the way down to the floor, and then here she was. Boy, she'd just come running right in, and so I moved it all the way over to the side of me. And of course, she has already had her fill. I'm doing this little video because I wanted to show you. It's not this cow. This is my my favorite cow. This is old Pansy, and she's just a delight. She's a miniature cow, and as a miniature, she's pretty small, pretty short. And milking miniatures, I discovered after I got into this, it's really difficult. This kills my back to have to bend way over. Because I hand milk. I milk by hand. And I didn't used to do that when I had a bigger dairy, milking several cows. I had a milking machine. Still got that milking machine, but I just don't use it. It takes too long to clean it up when I can come down here in just a few minutes and milk a cow by hand. But I'm right now milking 4 cows because since I think my last video that I did, we had just had a new calf, and now we've had 2 more. So now I am leaving the calves on the cows to help with the milking process. But I've got one cow out there. Daisy is her name, and she is a kicker. I have not been able to cure her of kicking. Now I can put hobbles on her, or I can put a kicking restraint on her, and I can milk her because that kind of, the hobbles don't necessarily do a whole lot, but it does keep them from kicking up high. But when you put that pinch thing up here on the top of the pelvis, they don't kick at all. So, but I can't find it. I don't know what I've done with it. It's here in the barn somewhere, and I looked for it the other day. So anyway, here I have this cow that's kicking. She'll let me wash her udder and everything, but she will not let me milk her. Well, as soon as I start milking her, then she has a real problem. So I devised this little deal right here. Now, some of you may recognize this. I have a bunch of these, let's see, got the box down here. Yeah, it's really dirty. But this is called Today. And if you have a cow with mastitis, you can pull these little plastic syringes out. And you stick the little plastic syringe up the teat and squirt the antibiotic stuff in there, and you only do it 2 times in one day. And if that don't cure your mastitis problem, then you need to seek a more aggressive treatment. But I saw this laying on a bunch of those old syringes that I had here, and so I cut the end of it off to allow me to have this little plastic tip. And then what I did, get this just right. What I did is I came down here with her and I insert, see if I can find the end. Well, let me see. Where's that at? Okay, right there. Of course, doing this with one hand. And then I'm going to grab another one because I want to put this other one on this other teat. And then once I've got that going, I'm going to slide my milking pail under there. And now I almost had this cow milked out, not quite. She already gave me a gallon, and that's about a half. That's about a half of a gallon. But you can set that here, and when my cow is when it's Daisy, the cow that kicks all the time, you can insert all 4 of those. Now, her teats are a little further apart than they are on this gal. So sometimes you have to intervene by just reaching in here and pushing the teat back together because it'll miss this little milk bucket. And I have a larger 2.5 gallon milk bucket that I can put under there, and then you can just go off and leave it. But with her being a kicker, you never know when she's going to kick. And so I don't like to put 2.5 gallons of milk under this cow, under that cow, which is a kicker, and have it in danger of being tipped over, because sometimes even when these are running, she'll kick her leg up a little bit, not really kicking, just moving her leg. But anyway, I wanted to show you that here this morning. And another thing that happens a lot of times is if you're milking your cow 2 times a day every day, or 1 time a day for Jerseys every day, you won't have a mastitis problem, but or very seldom would you ever have a mastitis problem. But if you have a mastitis problem with your cow, one of the things I can tell you is that they get very sensitive about you touching them because they're sore. Their mammary glands, udder, and the teat is kind of sore. So if you are messing around with them, you're likely to have them move their leg or whatever. Most of all except for Daisy, my milk cows never try to kick me. They just kind of try to get you to leave them alone by raking their leg up and back. But if you have a cow that has some mastitis and you need to get that milk drained out of there, just something to keep in mind. It's cheap. it's what I call a little milking machine. It's just a little drainer, and it will drain every bit of the milk out of those quarters. For those of you who don't know, the cow's udder is divided into 4 with a membrane. It's divided into 4 sections, and each teat, of course, representing one of those sections. Now, like I said, I already had this cow milked out when I thought that I should show you this little video, so not going to get a whole lot more milk out of her, but while I'm talking to you, you can see it's still draining. That one back there is done. So, because when it quits, it's done, and that is completely drained. Now, then I pull this back out. I rinse it off with water, and before I put it away, I have to lay this phone down for a minute. Before I put it away, well, actually, I shouldn't have torn this off yet, but that just means that all my alcohol is I have these little alcohol swabs. Buy them at the drugstore. They're just absolutely cheap. And then I alcohol this off and then blow through it. Make sure there's nothing left in that little deal, and then and I consider that sterile. Then I put it in my little udder bomb box that I have here, and that's where I store them. So I'll put that right there to catch this other one. And then I put them there, and I have 4 of those, so I could milk all 4 teats, or drain all 4 teats at the same time. So anyway, I think rather than bore you with continuing on with this video, I will just say that you might think about that. As they say, the mother of invention is necessity, or the necessity is the mother of invention. And that's just something I'm sure people have done it before, but I just thought of it a couple of days ago when I was getting the crap kicked out of me by this cow, and she wasn't letting me milk her. And I thought I'd let her go a day or so, and then she would get swollen up, full of milk, and she would want the relief, and then she'd quit kicking, but it just didn't happen. So, and I looked all over the barn to try to find my kicker. Couldn't do it, so I just took a pocket knife and lopped off a couple of those little hypodermic ends, the little ends off of the hypodermic. They're not sharp on the end, and they're hollow. It goes all the way through. So this is the end of the ceramic or of the syringe, and just take a knife and cut it off right there. And hey, it's working great for me. Actually, Daisy, who is a real pain, can take as much as 45 minutes. Well, she could take an hour sometimes to get her milked out if she's in the kicking mood and you can't stop her. It's like milk a little bit and she'll kick you off and you have to start again. It's time consuming and a little dangerous. So I just decided to try this, and I stuck her with all 4 of those teats, and they just started spraying milk out. And I put that pan right over there, which is a black feed pan, and it was big around and low. I slid that under real quietly while all those teats were draining. And I drained almost 3 gallons. I drained that one full and then drained it about half. I poured it out for the dogs and the chickens and got it about half full again. So I got almost 3 gallons of milk out of the first time I ever drained her like that. And I mean, her udder went from that big swollen looking udder to just a shrunk up mass there, and worked real good. So since then, that's how I've been milking her. I just stick her with those things. It doesn't hurt the cow whatsoever. I will say I always still wash the cow. When I bring Daisy in, even though she will let you wash her, because I use warm soapy water, and she feels that as a comfort and a relief, I think. So she'll stand perfectly still and let me wash and scrub her and get her all ready. And right on the end of that teat, you wash that really good with soap and water. And then I rinse her with fresh water. And then I take that alcohol swab thing, open it, and put alcohol swab on the end of the teat. And then insert the little hypodermic thing in there. And the draining starts. And, well, you can see it's... Just while I've been sitting here and talking, I've got almost a half a gallon of milk out of that one teat, and then, whoa, like I said, I had already milked her out, so this was the only teat that I hadn't milked out really completely. Now, while you're draining, whoa, it's okay to take this and kind of finish, and there is just no milk there hardly at all. But that one has been hand milked, and so is this one back here. This is completely empty. This is the only part of the udder that has any milk left. And it doesn't, if I do it, I've got another milk cow that just out of convenience, she's my oldest milk cow on the farm. That's Marigold, her name. Perfectly good cow, comes right in, jumps in the stall. She's the most eager cow I've ever seen to get in here in the stall. And if you haven't, I don't know, I'll show you just in the background here how this works. It's built up. I've built it up on the ground about, it's over knee high, whatever. I don't have the dimensions. And long enough that this cow can get under it. And she's a good cow. I don't even have her head stall locked, but normally I put her in the head stall. Whoa. And I'm not going to lock it. She thinks she's ready to go. But anyway, that's a stand that I put them in, which then I can set on this. I set on this old milk carton here, and that puts me, at about knee height, and I can just reach right out here and milk. Well, when I built this for the miniature cows, and we've got all of our miniature cows from starting years ago, we bought a miniature bull. He was a registerable, wasn't registered, but he had all the paperwork there. We we just weren't really interested in going ahead with the registering process on our farm. So he was a little miniature bull. And we started with a herd of full size or lesser. I had some very full size Jerseys, which are really pretty good size. And that little bull was having some difficulty, I think, but he would eventually figure out a way to get those cows bred. And then we started having littler cows. And this is the first one that we had that we would really say she's a true miniature, because she fits the 43 inches, I think, to her hip bone or to the top of her back. So she's our first miniature. We've got some others. Unfortunately, that bull loves to throw bulls. Whoa, Pansy. Good girl. Loves to throw bulls, so we've not had very many little heifers. I've got this one and two more that are coming up on 1.5 years old, ready to be put into the breeding cycle. I'm not doing it right now. This is April. I don't want to do that. They're 9-month gestation, just like a human. So what I want to do is I want to put these cows in with my bull when the full 9 months. We'll have them having a baby in the summer. Either spring or summer or beginning fall is a good time to have them, but don't do this, because if I bred her now, she'd be having it in next winter, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to hold off. But we've got this miniature and two more, and I got 3 miniature bulls. So we're doing pretty good getting our herd down. I'm thinking what I'm going to have to do is, and this I know is rambling, it's not what I intended to talk about, should stay on topic. But as you can see, milk's still coming, but look at that. Whoa. Remember that was bulgy here? See, it's just completely empty now. So anyway, I'll let that continue, and then I'll end this video and stop her draining. Don't hurt to leave it in there for a little while. It's just like stripping them out by hand. You get that last few drops of milk out. Anyway, whatever I was going to say. We've done pretty well with our breeding down from the slightly smaller. Anyway, that's another gallon of milk. So she's given me 2 gallon milk to gallon earlier, and then milked half of this bucket full by hand, and then put these little drainers on her. And then, like I said, I wash it. Get some hot soapy water here. So I wash it, and then clean it all inside and out with the alcohol swab. And then blow through it. Make sure that it's open and empty. Not got anything in it. And put it in my container. And then I'm going to use this alcohol swab to go back and swab off the ends of all of the teats. This would work better if I hadn't done it for the camera, because this is a little dry right now. Still slightly moist though, so it's good for this. And once I've got that, I just take a little udder balm on the end of my finger. Oh, we've got a urination evolution going on here. So anyway, just take that, and I need a little more. Take that. It's bag balm is what it is. And so once I'm done milking, even if I'm milking by hand, if I'm done milking, and then I clean the end of the teat off, and then I need a little more. I go around and put this bag balm. Now remember, this cow is still milking a calf, or still nursing a calf. So a lot of times you'll get calf slobbers and everything all over the teat, and then they just dry. And over a period of time drying like that, they can get a little bit of chapping or drying sensation. Like this teat right here on the back side is kind of dry. Anyway, putting the bag balm on always helps keep them nice and supple so you don't have any problem. Anyway, thanks for watching. Again, it's Steve here on Eagle Creek Farm, and we're locked down for coronavirus and all doing just fine. I did mention too, one quick final thing is I did mention that I was really fortunate because I got my green beans all in way early. Well, I lost all my green beans. It came, my green beans were up, my squash was up, everything was up and looking just beautiful. And of course I had lettuce and onions planted too, which they survived the frost fine. But it got down to 26 degrees the other night, and we lost all the green beans, all the squash. Luckily, all the tomatoes hadn't been put in the ground yet. They were still setting up on the porch, so they're still surviving. So anyway, we're going to get started gardening again. Have a great day. God bless you. Stay safe. If you can, remain indoors. Really, if you got to think about it, the only way you know you're not going to get this coronavirus is if you do not contact anybody. So lock yourself down or stay in as much as you can. Stay safe out there.